Good evening. I am on time for Cosi Talks. Last week I was a bit late. Guys, for those of you watching the replay of this show, if you don't mind typing replay in the comments section, I also like to check back on the comments after the show's over just to see if there's any questions that I missed, including those who are watching the replay. So if you don't mind doing that for me, I would very much appreciate it. All right, I am going to sit here and enjoy my decaf while I wait for y'all to jump on board. And we've got a lot of really nice questions for tonight. So I always love those nights. All right, I see some people jumping on board. As you come on board, folks, you know the routine. Let me know who you are, where you're from, and what's in your coffee mug. And tell me, are you a cool kid? Do you have a Cosi Talks mug? Let me know if you're one of the cool kids. All right, can everybody hear me okay? Is the microphone working? There we go. We got Stephen Schreidel from Michigan. Ashley, you got your sweet tea there, girl, from Tennessee. All right, and happy Teacher Appreciation Week to you, Ashley. Much blessed vocation that you have chosen there. Hey, Mark S., what's going on? Good, you can hear me. We've got my other Stephen there, Stephen Salvucci. How you doing? Stephen, I love seeing the picture of you in the PT clinic. Barbara! Oh, there's Barbara from Connecticut. And Ashley's got a mug, so she's one of the cool kids. We got William Mays here in the house. All right, guys. We got a lot of people jumping in on board, guys. Don't be shy. Let me know who you are. If it's your first time watching the show, welcome. And I said, don't be shy. Let us know who you are, where you're from, and what's in your coffee mug. We got Glenda from Seattle, tea in her Cosi Talks mug. Awesome. We got Damon. What's going on, Damon? New hairdo? Nope. Just trying to get the hair out of my face for this evening, Mark. Oh, let's see. Ashley, we've got a grape juice with a side of NyQuil. Girl, you're going to sleep easy tonight. We got Bonnie drinking coffee out of a Cosi Talks mug from Tennessee. Yeah. Stephen McCarthy. It's a lot of Stevens in the house. Live as always. Ireland in the house. Yes, Stephen. Northern Ireland, correct? If I'm not mistaken. Cheers. Thank you for coming. And guys, those of you, there was several you've reached out to me wanting a Cosi Talks mug. They are on order. I was able to find the manufacturer where I had them originally made. So I'm ordering some more. And I also ordered something else to go on the website. So can't wait to show you what that's all about. Hey, Jamar Brothers, what's going on? Welcome. All right, guys, we got Kevin Harrison drinking Pepsi in North Carolina. There's my Tar Heel, my fellow Tar Heel right there. What's up, Kevin? All right. I'm happy this week because y'all send in your questions. So that makes me a very happy PT. Sometimes there are some weeks where it's like the crickets are chirping, no questions are coming in, and I got to think about what to talk about. So I'm really always excited when you guys bring me the questions and make my job easy for me. We've got Kenny in Chesapeake, Virginia with his Pepsi. Nothing crazy tonight. It's all right, Kenny. We'll let you on the show anyways. Kenny, I got your question here and I haven't forgotten about it. We've got Teresa. Teresa, girl, I got a ton of your questions here. So I'm glad you're here and I hope you're listening. Lonnie, I am so glad to see you tonight. Lonnie, I promise you I'm not ignoring you. I am going to watch that video you sent me and I will get back to you on that. I promise. Let's see. We got Johnny B. Johnny B's in the house. What's going on, Johnny B? All right, guys, we got a nice little crew going. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And guys, tonight I am broadcasting to my YouTube Cosi Talks channel, as well as my Facebook page. So for those of you who are helping me spread the word about what it is that I do on the show. I know some folks do not have Facebook accounts or they just prefer not to use Facebook. So it's a little bit easier sometimes to find me on the Cosi Talks YouTube channel. So there you have it, folks. All right, guys, for those of you who are joining me for the first time, welcome. My name is Cosi Belloso. I'm a physical therapist, amputee specialist here in Tampa, Florida. I am the proud owner of Palanca, an outpatient clinic here in Tampa that is exclusively for working with amputees. Lately, I've been taking a little time away from my clinic to work on this big top secret super project. Actually, it's two big super projects that I've been working on that have me a little bit bonkers right now. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited to eventually this year be able to share these projects with you all next week. And here's my first plug, guys. And I'm going to shamelessly plug because I don't have a publicist, so I have to do my own publicity. Guys, if you haven't already signed up for my email subscription, please consider clicking on the link that I just provided to my website to sign up for that email subscription. One of the big top secret surprises that I've been working on, I will be launching it next week. And the people who are my email subscribers are going to be the first ones to hear about it. So if you want in on the gossip, go ahead and sign up for my email subscription and find out the news first. That's all I gotta say. Hey, Jim, how you doing, man? Glad you can make it. All right, let's jump in with the questions, huh? First question, we're gonna jump in with an easy one. We got Kenny's question, right? Kenny asked, I received my new socket on April 29th, below the knee. The socket fit is decent, but now I'm using 8-ply socks. Is it normal to start wearing 8-ply this soon? I'm wearing the socks to keep the bottom of my kneecap from being covered by the top of the socket. Okay, so Kenny, is it normal for people to have to automatically start putting socks on when they have a brand new socket? Yes. And this is what I've noticed, Kenny, among, I've been practicing for 18 years. So this is just something I've noticed. Usually my younger patients and my more active patients, this is what happens to them, that they'll finally get a new socket and they're excited because they can get rid of all those socks, and they put the socket on and everything's hunky-dory for a day or two. And then by the next week, they're back up to 5, 6, 7, 8-ply. And they're sitting there going, what's going on? Okay. A large part of that, especially Kenny, if you're in that first year, year and a half, even 2 years after amputation, your limb is remolding, remodeling, shrinking, changing shape, changing volume. The younger you are, and again, this is just me observation over the past 18 years. I'm not basing this on any official research that I've read. The younger you are and the more active you are, the more drastic those changes and the faster that they tend to happen because you're more active. So you're pumping all of that fluid out of the way. And if you think about it, when you get a new socket that's fit more snugly, right, you're probably going to be walking better, longer, and more efficiently. So those muscles are going to be working even harder, which means they're going to start to remodel and pump fluid out of there. So Kenny, it is a very normal thing. Sometimes what I recommend to folks is when they are getting fit for a new socket and they anticipate that they might be shrinking some more, ask your prosthetist to see if you can stay in your check socket. Okay. There's one of my favorite prosthetists in town that I like to work with, the folks over at St. Petersburg Brace and Limb. When one of our patients that we have together right now, she has that issue where she shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. And just when we think she's done, she starts to shrink some more. So the prosthetist has kept her in the check socket, obviously reinforced at the bottom so that she can do her daily activities and her therapy until we notice that she plateaus a little bit before making her that final socket. Okay, so Kenny, yes, it's normal. Keep on your socks. Okay, keep judging whether you need to add or subtract socks, and have that conversation with your prosthetist and just say, if you're someone who's rapidly changing volume, can you stay in a check socket just a little bit longer to see if you plateau a little bit, and just see what they have to say. As far as, there was another part of your question, Kenny, there was a part where you said, I'm wearing the socks to keep the bottom of my kneecap from being covered by the top of the socket. Okay, so some for the below the knee sockets. Bob, say hello. Guys, for those of you who don't know Bob, this is Bob. Say hi to Bob. He is my reluctant and sometimes snarky co-host and model show. So Bob's kneecap isn't floating the way it is in our human body. It's kind of attached to him. But in the below the knee socket, a lot of times prosthetists might go supracondylar, meaning they will hang the end of the prosthesis off the condyles of your femur right here. And sometimes they might also go suprapatellar. Now, the suprapatellar I've noticed has not been on trend as much as it used to be back when I was starting back in my early days as a physical therapist. But you still might see some of those trim lines creeping up onto the patella. Okay, Kenny? So watch that. It could be that you're sinking too far into the socket, or it could be that trim line needs to be trimmed just a little bit more for your comfort. So again, communication with your prosthetist, let them know what's bothering you, let them know what's not bothering you and what works, and go from there. All right, let's see what we got. All right, Robin, happy Wednesday, Robin. We've got Anthony. Oh my gosh, Anthony, how have you been? You're drinking Gatorade. How are you doing, man? Give me a brief update. We got Timothy on board, Jeff Riley with his iced tea. Robin says, the more active, I am not young. Yes, you are, Robin. I shrunk rapidly from activity, not my youth. Well, Robin, I did say folks who are young. And for me, guys, young is anybody under 50 years old. You're still a spring chicken in my book if you're under 50 years old. You're welcome. And then also if you're active. So some of my, I had one individual in his 60s who's a runner. And he also experienced a lot of this shrinkage just because of his activity level. So there you go. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Oh, that's right. It is Cinco de Mayo. I probably should have something more interesting here than just my decaf coffee. You know. Let's see. Hey, comadre's here. And Paul. Oh my gosh, we got the whole Jackson crew here. Guys, we got some of the best PTs in Florida sitting here in the comments section right there. Paul says the auto typer keeps typing prostitutes instead of prosthetists. Paul, I'm not taking it there. We're not going there this evening. I'm just saying. All right, we got Andrea on board. There's my OT. So we got OTs, we got PTs in the house. I love it. We got Amanda on board and Jeanette. Hey, how you guys doing? All right, guys. And guys, by the way, feel free to post your questions in the comments section. They don't have to be pre-submitted. I like having pre-submitted questions because it gives me an idea as to what I'll be talking about. But I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you guys might have on the fly here for me. It's open season on the PT. All right, here we go. We got David Franklin on board. All right, let's see. Next question coming in from Teresa. You got a three-parter here, Chica. So I'm going to break these questions up. So you got to stick around all night to hear all the answers. Teresa asks, the walking program you mentioned, do you mean unassisted? I am walking with a cane. Should I start a walking program after I get off the cane? That's actually a really great question, Teresa. And Teresa's referring to a webinar series that I do with the Vital Fit Skincare Company. Write this one on your calendar, guys. On May 19th, that's 2 Wednesdays from now, right? May 19th, I'm going to have Vital Fit in the house and Greg Menino. Greg is an above-the-knee prosthetist, 22-time Paralympian and Olympian. Right? Okay, so he's no stranger to my show. He's going to be co-hosting with me that evening, and we're going to be talking about how you can stay active during summertime, summer activities, summer hacks, which, by the way, any of you who have your Amplitude magazine, this is a phenomenal issue. We're going to get into this a little bit later on this evening, but lots of good stuff in this, including summer activities, adaptations on how to participate in these summer activities. So if you haven't already gotten your free subscription to Amplitude, get thee to amplitude.com. Okay. So Teresa, when you're starting a walking program, and guys, for me, a lot of my patients will get walking programs from me. And a lot of that comes from my previous experience of working in the cardiac units, working with patients who had either just had a heart transplant or were, kind of knocking on death's door, waiting for their heart transplant. And we had to keep their endurance going. We had to keep their stamina up. So I learned how to develop very simple but doable walking programs, and it carries over into my practice today. So when my patients finish with what I call traditional physical therapy, walking program is one of the things I put them on. It gets their endurance up. It's cheap. It's easy to do. And it gets you prepared for other activities that you may want to do. If you used to be a high-end athlete, guess what? You got to start with your walking. If you want to practice something like rock climbing, if you want to be a cyclist, if you want to be a swimmer, start with a walking program and you can really build a strong foundation. Now, Teresa was wondering, well, does she have to wait until she's walking by herself without the use of a cane? No. And here's how I see it, Teresa. If you are on your way to becoming an independent walker, meaning you are on your way to becoming a person who walks with her prosthesis without a cane and without a walker, you need to build that mileage, right? You need to get those muscles strong. You need to get your endurance and your stamina up to reach that goal. And walking is one slice of that pie. You still need to keep up with your strengthening. You still need to keep up with your balance. You still need to keep up with your proprioception. But endurance is a big one. And that's one that will stall my patients if we don't address it. Here's the one exception to that. If I have a patient who is just starting out on their cane, right? And this person is having a lot of issues with their gait. They're having a lot of deviations. They're having a lot of compensations. I might hold off on suggesting a walking program until we work out those kinks. Why? Because the more you walk using the bad habits, the more you're going to do those bad habits, right? But yes, if you're on the brink of walking independently, it could be that the walking program is what you need to get you there. okay? And there's many of you that you use your cane. That is part of your functional daily life and mobility, okay? That is what allows you to move independently in the community. That allows you what gets you through your entire day with your prosthesis. So yes, use your cane for your basic walking programs. And like I said, guys, on May 19th, I'll be giving you the Cosi Talk super simple formula of how to develop a walking program and how to stick to it no matter what level you are at. All right, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna start reading a little bit here. Johnny says, I'm under 70 and I think that I'm still young. Johnny, you are young. I kind of want to be like you when I grow up. Johnny just came back from skiing in Colorado. And Johnny, what are you up to? You're cycling right now? I think you're bicycling right now. Oh, badass. All right, we got Vicky drinking her Pepsi. We says Anthony had surgery on March 17th, had a bone spur removed off the end of the fibula, 31st got stitches, and then got married. Hey, congratulations. Left for the honeymoon? Oh dear, and then you fell. Well, that's no good. That's not how you spend your honeymoon. Oh dear, Anthony. All right, Anthony, send me a message after this is over and tell me a little bit more about what's going on with you, man. All right, Greg is your ski. Yeah, Greg is kind of awesome. And he's going to be on the show, guys, on May 19th. So let's see. Steven says, since this was my first amputation, I have nothing to go by if I got a good prosthetist. I don't think mine was very good. I don't like using my leg. I don't want to go back to where I got mine, yet clueless if I go somewhere else. Can they do any better? Any advice? Yes, Steve, I have lots of advice for that kind of situation. Guys, for the most part, 9 out of 10 prosthetists I work with here in my community, local community here in Tampa, prosthetists I worked with back in Miami, they're great prosthetists. They are great clinicians. They are good at what they do. They want to help people, okay? But as in every profession, physical therapy included, you're going to come across a clinician that maybe is not on their game, or maybe they're not really great at communication or listening to their patients. And okay. So here are your rights as a patient. And I'm starting to get more like little advocate style here. You have the right to a second opinion. Okay. And that's probably usually the first thing I will say to folks who come to me and say, I am not happy with my prosthetist. I am not happy with my physical therapist. What can I do? Number one, figure out, sometimes verbalize what it is that you don't like, what's going on. A lot of times people have a tough time saying, well, this is what I don't like about it. But you really need to be able to articulate, what is it that you don't like about your prosthetist or physical therapist for that matter? Is it because they're not listening to you? Is it because they're not spending enough time with you in the appointment to listen to what it is that's bothering you in the socket? Are they telling you that your socket's done? That's it. There's nothing else they can do about it. Okay. Are they including you in the decision-making process for choosing out a foot or a knee or a suspension system or a liner? Okay. Are they listening to you when you're telling them what it is you want to be able to do with your life and this prosthesis? Guys, these are questions your prosthetist should be asking you anyways. I know I ask all of my patients these questions the first day they come into my clinic. Okay. So that's usually the first thing there. And then you got to ask yourself, okay, when I go back to my prosthetist and I tell them about my problems, do they try to troubleshoot these problems? And this is where many people get stuck. When you're getting fit for that first leg, guys, you might have to go back time over time to get just the right fit. That is unfortunately just the nature of the beast sometimes, okay? If you have a prosthetist that's willing to keep going back to the table with you, to keep trying, that's a good prosthetist, okay? And eventually you'll find that right fit, okay? Now, going back to the second opinion, if you're not sure, okay, let's say you've been to your prosthetist several times and they still can't find what is not fitting properly with your prosthesis, yeah, go get that second opinion. It's simple. It's as simple as making another appointment with another clinic and saying, I have a prosthesis. I just want to get a second opinion on the fit. Okay. I know there's a couple of prosthetists in my area that they offer complimentary consultations. Well, they'll take a look at your prosthesis and they'll give you some tips and they'll give you their opinion on it. And you can go from there. And you'll learn either one of two things. Either one, maybe your current prosthetist is doing the right thing and you just need to keep going back to the drawing board until you find the solution. Or maybe that new prosthetist has something that they can offer that you haven't heard about yet. Okay. But The number one reason people don't use their prosthesis, prosthetic abandonment, it's actually got a title, prosthetic abandonment, is because the socket doesn't fit well. And guys, I don't blame people. I've had so many patients come into my clinic with a socket that has a layer of dust on it because it's been sitting in a closet, because when they put it on, it hurts, or it's uncomfortable, or nobody taught them how to use it. That's another big one right there. Okay, so Stephen, I'm throwing questions at you that I want you to kind of ask yourself and say, yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing in my prosthetist. And Stephen, usually once a prosthetist finishes a final leg, final socket, yeah, you're definitely free to go wherever you want to go. Okay, and here's another thing I'm going to throw at you guys. And this is something that I am starting to learn about myself in talking with the various manufacturers and developing some relationships there. When you receive a new foot or a new knee, make sure you ask your prosthetist not only about the warranty, but the return policy. Yeah, that's something that I'm starting to learn about myself. Number one, when you're in the market for a new knee or a new foot, first ask about the trial programs, right? We have so many companies out there that offer free trials. Number one example that comes to mind, College Park Industries. They offer a 30-day, 20 or 30-day, don't quote me on that, okay? 20 or 30-day free trial on their feet, okay? And they also offer, and other companies will do the same. Okay, so that's your first line of defense right there, is ask your prosthetist, say, I want to trial this foot and I want to trial that foot. Let's call the sales reps and ask them for a sample. The next thing is, when you decide upon a foot or a knee, read the fine print. Ask, if I am not happy with this foot, if I am not happy with this knee, how long do I have before I can return it? Now, it could be that some feet and some knees do not have a return policy. This is, again, guys, this is where I'm still having my own learning curve and figuring out who does what and how long do you have to do it. But you do have that ability, and many people don't know that. Okay. The reason why I say that is because not too long ago, I had a lovely woman come to my clinic, and she was fit with an amazing knee, but not so amazing foot. The foot was a completely wrong foot for her and her activity and her lifestyle. Okay. And unfortunately, by the time she came to me, the return policy had already expired. But she didn't know about the return policy. Otherwise, I know that she would have returned it to the prosthetist and said, no, let's try something different. Okay, so I know I kind of went off tangent there on that soapbox, but Stephen, these are things I want you to consider when it comes to your prosthetist, figuring out what it is that you're not happy about, and then making sure you ask the new prosthetist about those things. Yeah? How can you get this magazine, Jeanette? I believe if you go to, just put in Amplitude in Google, you'll get to their website, and some of this magazine is available online. And I encourage you to look at it. It's got some really great art. I mean, they always have good articles, but they had like 3 articles this month that I was like, oh, I love it. And I believe it's a free subscription. I am not sure about my Canadian viewers. I don't know if they send it out to Canada or not. So, but just go on the website. You'll see. Hey, Doug. Oh, so glad to see you, Doug. Cycling season. So Johnny's into the cycling. Let's see. Oh, well, thank you, Leanne. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, Jody, what's going on? Working out with a blister. Jody, I'm going to jump on you about that one. If you got a blister, girl, you got to rest on that and let it heal before you put your prosthesis back on. Said it. Let's see. Lonnie says it took me 5 tries to get a socket with the correct fit. Yep. Let's see. Doug says being fitted for pin lock system as a bilateral below the knee, 12 visits in 3 weeks and almost done. Prosthetist is awesome. So guys, this is a perfect example right there. Granted, Doug is battling 2 prosthetic. He's a bilateral, so he's dealing with 2 prosthetic devices. But having to do 12 visits in 3 weeks, that is not unusual, And as you can see, he's over the moon with his prosthetist. Why? Because the prosthetist continues to keep trying and keep working and keep moving until they get that right fit. Okay. Debbie says, my knee is awkward. Anyway, my prosthetist kept working at it until he got it right. Yeah. And if it's the prosthetist I'm thinking of, Debbie, he's an amazing prosthetist, right? And it's one of those where, you know, the knee was awkward, probably something to do with your alignment and just needed to work on the alignment a little bit. Okay. So let's see what else we got. Yes, Steven says, I'm going to go take my leg to another prosthetist for a second opinion. Do it. You're the one who has to. Honestly, guys, when it comes to treating our patients as clinicians, we need to put our egos to one side. We do. And it's hard because we're human. Sometimes we get our egos bruised. But honestly, if a patient comes to me and says, you know, I'm not sure if you're the right therapist for me, the first thing I'll tell them is, yeah, go get a second opinion. I encourage you. You need to make sure that you want to have therapy with me. So I don't need a reluctant patient. I need to know that they want to be on board with me as a therapist. And it could be that I may not be the right fit for them as their therapist. And that's okay. They need to go where they're going to do the best. Same thing with the prosthetist, guys. Okay. Same thing with the prosthetist. All right, let's see. Oh, thank you, Ashley, for posting that. Jeanette, Ashley was kind enough to post the website to Amplitude magazine, guys. It's livingwithamplitude.com. So for those of you who don't have us, let's talk a little bit about this because they had some really great stuff. So first off, it was Tom Carlson. So some of you might recognize Tom Carlson's name. He is a big guy in our limb loss community, runs a support group. He is a certified peer visitor, and he is getting married to the lovely Kim, and they met at the 2019 Amputee Coalition National Conference. So they did a beautiful article. They're both certified peer visitors, now soon to be a husband-wife duo. So props there. And then I turned the page, and I'm like, and we've got Mission Gate. So a lot of times you guys have heard me talk about Mission Gate. Mission Gate, I have worked with them on several occasions, and just a wonderful, wonderful team. I've met some of the most beautiful people there, including one of my dearest friends. And it's run by a physical therapist who created this organization specifically for providing education, continued education towards clinicians like myself who are working with amputees and helping us keep our clinical skills sharp with gait analysis, gait training, everything related to gait. So huge props there. And then last but not least, and I promise I'll put this magazine away, there was a phenomenal article on this young man called Albert Lynn. And I'm saying that because if anybody knows this guy, I want him on my show. He films for National Geographic. He is obviously an amputee himself, a surfer. Like, I love Nat Geo, and I'm surprised I haven't come across his show yet, but lots of good stuff in the Amplitude magazine to this time around. All right, Megan says, do you know if my prosthetic guy should have casted me when he made my leg? Never casted, only measured. Leg has been collecting dust, never has felt right. He doesn't believe me. Okay, that's a tough one, Megan. So there are different ways to make a socket. In my experience, and this is not based on any research, I don't have any evidence-based research on this one, guys. So this is just Cosi Talk's opinion. I find that the folks who do the castings get a better fit. I find that, because if you think about it, when you are being casted, it's basically a precise molding of your leg with all the nooks and crannies. So there's a much more accurate, portrayal of your leg. If they're taking measurements, they're taking circumferential measurements, right? So they're taking the measurement around the different parts of your leg. So unless they do a measurement like every millimeter, there's going to be some spots that are missed, right? And it's also, now there are new techniques out there now. There's 3D printing. There's all sorts of fun technology out there on how to get, scanning the leg and all sorts of fancy schmancy stuff out there that's working amazingly. And I think one of the reasons that it works is because it's taking in all the nooks and crannies of the leg, of the residual limb. So Megan, again, the point of this is you're not comfortable in your leg. Okay. If you're not comfortable and your leg's collecting dust, that's a problem. That's a problem. So Megan, I would say, go back to your prosthetist just one more time and let them know, hey, this is not a comfortable fit. Okay. And it could be that, it's not to say that everybody who takes measurements does not make a good socket. It's just in general, what I see is that not as comfortable a fit. And Megan, this would be another instance where maybe a second opinion for you would be a good idea as well. Celeste, welcome. Welcome to the show. All right, we got Rita on board and we got Andrea. Yes. Oh, Ashley, there's your random question. I was waiting for it. I am car shopping and looking at a Jeep Wrangler. Nice. Is there enough legroom for an amputee on the driver's side? Yeah. Technically, if there was enough room for you, and I guess this maybe I'm missing something here, and folks, chime in on this one. I'd love to hear your opinion on this one. Jeep Wranglers, the ones that I've sat in on the driver's side, they're fairly roomy. The ones that I've sat in, anyways. So I would say, Ashley, if you were able to comfortably sit in one prior to your amputation, then you should be able to comfortably sit in one after amputation. But then that's the fun of taking a test drive. So any comments on that one, guys? Let's see. David says, as a left above the knee amputee, I try to walk as much as I can. Obsessed, not crazy. Hey, nothing wrong with being obsessed with walking, David. But I have a right leg with a total knee replacement and a right hip replacement. I perhaps push too much. I will be very interested when you talk about your walking program. Any advice for those of us who have replacement knees and hips on the good leg? I was brutal on my hips and knees in previous careers. And David, any therapist can treat a total hip and total knee with our eyes closed and one hand tied behind our back. Thankfully, total hip and total knee replacements have become commonplace in our society, which means those surgical techniques have become really, really good, and recovery has been wonderful, as well as the outcomes, David. So I wouldn't see the total hip and total knee as your weak side. That can still be, it's again, strengthening the muscles around the joint so that the joint is supported, right? Now, if you were to tell me, David, that you wanted to go run marathons, I'd be like, maybe on a total hip and total knee replacement side, it might not be the best idea. But walking, yes, you should be able to walk till the cows come home with that knee replacement and hip replacement, okay? You do need to practice your strengthening, though. And that's something that I'm learning as I get older. It's a use it or lose it mentality. And guys, this is something I would be preaching to you, even if you were not amputees. This is something I talked about a lot when I worked with the geriatric home health population. And geriatric, I mean over 50. Okay. So our ability to make muscle, decreases as we age, but it doesn't disappear, right? You work the muscle, you overload the muscle with proper exercise and proper form, you will make a muscle stronger, and you will make a joint that much more stable and secure, allowing you to continue your obsession with walking, David, which I would highly encourage. Let's see. Yes, Mission Gate has amazing videos. Oh my gosh, if any of you wants to go ahead and post the link to the YouTube channel for Mission Gate, and you might find a couple of videos there with yours truly on there. It's really phenomenally well done videos, good content. I use them a lot for reference myself. I use them for my patients. Really good stuff, really good stuff. Let's see. Jody says, besides staying off my leg, what is the best thing to use to heal blisters? Time. I wish I had a better answer for that, Jody, and sometimes I'm very unpopular with my patients when I have to play the bad guy and take their leg away when they come in with a big old blister waiting to explode. Sorry for that graphic. But yeah, with a blister, guys, you gotta take care of it. Okay, you got to take care of it, especially those of you who lost your limb due to complications from diabetes, due to complications from vascular disease, anything that can be compromising the healing nature of your body, anything that can heal, that can compromise circulation. Okay, you don't want that blister turning into a raging MRSA infection. Okay, and yeah, I've seen that happen too many times. Okay, so if you have a blister, respect it, respect the blister. That can be a new hashtag. Hashtag respect the blister. And just let it open to air. Okay. And then when it starts to finally heal, okay, you do need to watch that spot, because even though the skin might be completely healed on it, it's going to be new skin. So you don't want to shear it off again and create a new blister by getting too aggressive with your leg wearing. The other thing you need to think about is, why did you get the blister in the first place? Right? Because if you don't solve that problem, you're going to get it again. Okay, and guys, I just happen to have here, I have a very messy desk sitting in front of me with all my tools here. For me, guys, this is why you've been hearing me hawk these products so much, and that's not really the right word. Advocate for these products. Okay, the products from Vital Fit, they have been game changers for a lot of my patients in terms of their skin health and skin care in preventing some of these blisters. Jody, I know you have some of these products. So Jody, once your blister heals and the skin is closed, I would use the liquid to powder on that area where you got the blister because it'll help keep it from shearing again while that skin gets a little bit stronger. And then Jody, again, what caused you to get the blister? If you know what it is, make sure you address it. If you don't know what caused the blister, give your prosthetist a call and see if you can troubleshoot that. Hey, Linda, what's going on? Doug says, casting with plaster allows the prosthetist to feel the leg and its exact shape. Important for the prosthetist to understand later what you are wearing and how it may feel based on the dimensions. Yeah. And guys, I won't lie, I'm old school. Back when I worked in the burn trauma units, we used to do a lot of casting ourselves. We used to put our patients sometimes in temporary casts to help them gain or maintain their range of motion. And me, I loved using plaster. It was messy, but it was so easy to mold around my patients. And I was able to get a really nice fit with the plaster. So, just kind of extrapolating that to how you cast for a socket, using a plaster, again, you just get a nice mold. Now, again, the new technology that's coming out, yeah, I definitely want to learn because I've been hearing a lot of great things about that as well. And again, a lot of it is also the skill of the prosthetist to really be able to, I think of it like tailoring, someone who knows how to tailor a good suit, right? If you go to someone who's a good tailor and has a great eye, they can make anybody look like James Bond, right? And tailor a well-fit suit, right? Versus someone who doesn't know what they're doing and, right? Okay, anyways, enough of the analogies. Let's see. Jess says, I've had some success with Tegaderm patches. I do like the Tegaderm patches, guys. And I have, some of my patients will use the Tegaderm patches. But again, if you're somebody who has issues with circulation, if you're somebody who has issues with healing your skin, leaving it without the prosthesis is the best way and the fastest way to get it to heal. Hands down. Mark says, I prefer to remove my leg when I'm driving. I see a lot of people who say the same thing. Reginald says, I just bought a Caravan last weekend. I'm a right below the knee, and I'm curious as to how other right BKs drive. So we've covered that on a couple of occasions here, Reginald. And I see that you're listening from my YouTube channel. So thank you for showing my YouTube channel some love there, Reginald. So yeah, there's some right BKs or right amputee, above the knee amputees as well. Small percentage drive with the left leg, very small. And I actually don't encourage that. Many people decide to get hand controls of some flavor of some sort, and they get the car fit for hand controls. Some of my below the knees drive with their right prosthesis. And again, I'm not endorsing any of these particular techniques. I'm just telling you what I've heard and seen over the years. I do think if you're getting back into driving, it's certainly worth, number one, checking with your DMV and your insurance. Make sure you're following the rules according to the state that you live in and following the rules of your insurance policy. Number two, look into driving schools. And you're going to see popping up, I know here in Tampa, we have an adaptive driving school. And they not only give you the lessons on how to learn to drive again with whichever impairment that you have, but they will also outfit your car with the appropriate equipment necessary. So that's my take on it. But I love driving. So for me, I'm like, yeah, it's totally worth it. Oh, thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see. We got Connie on board. Oh, Johnny says, shaken, not stirred, right? I heard they have a new James Bond. Anybody else hear those rumors? All right. Megan says, I was gifted a couple of Vital Fit from winning on this show. The products are amazing, especially the lotion to powder. Highly recommend. It's one of my favorites. It really is, guys. And I've been working a bit more closely with that company this past year and a half because of the fact that their products have worked so well for my patients. So yeah. Mark says he uses the left leg accelerator. Oh, Pat. Pat says it's his 4th anniversary today. Journey has been interesting, but luckily little to no, these comments get pieces apparent. Little to no shrinkage issues, so sock usage not an issue. Can't overstate the importance of socket fit. Thank you, Pat. Interested to see where the third socket design goes. Right, AK, who loves my left foot accelerator. Oh, Pat, thank you for being on the show tonight. Jonathan says he drives with his left leg, and that's how he learned. Okay. Anthony says, I drive with my prosthetic, but I always have my good leg on guard just in case my right leg is running out of strength. There we go. Debbie says, I have to try to drive with the left leg, but Disability Achievement said they would put in hand controls for me. Awesome. Awesome. And guys, to me, you know, putting in hand controls just symbolizes an extra set of freedom that you're going to have. You know, it's going to give you that ability to get in that car and get going. All right, let me tackle one more of these questions I've got here. Ooh, this one was a good one. Okay, Gage. We're talking a lot about socket fits tonight, so this fits in really perfectly. Gage says, I am getting fitted for an X3 and Echelon ER. That's a hell of a combination right there. That's awesome, Gage. I have a question about socket fit. I am a left at the knee amputee, so I'm assuming knee disarticulation. I still have my kneecap. I currently have a genium that I've had for 8 years. Durability. They scanned my socket and reduced the volume by 5 ply. I tried the test socket with just the Angel sock, and it's pretty tight. Not uncomfortable, just just used to a more loose fitting socket. I never had an issue with my skin or stump, and I wear my leg 16 plus hours a day. Do you think reducing down to 1 sock could cause more rubbing, leading to blisters and irritation? How tight do I want a new socket to fit? And this is an interesting take on a question I do get often is, how do you know when your socket fits? And the best way that, I'm not an amputee, guys, but the best way I've heard it described by my patients is it should fit snug as a glove, okay? Not too tight, certainly not too loose. So Gage, in your case, you are a very active individual, 16 plus hours a day with your prosthesis. You've been an expert at using this prosthesis, obviously, for 8 plus years, and you were using quite a few socks. So yeah, getting put into a socket that only has 1 sock from 8, it's gonna feel real snug, and it's gonna take some getting used to. But you mentioned it's snug, but it's not uncomfortable. Okay, so that indicates to me that your prosthetist is on the right path for getting the right fit. Now, a new socket, guys, is like getting a new pair of running shoes. You have to break them in. Even if it's the same make and model of running shoe, right? When you get a new pair, you got to let your feet get used to it. Otherwise, you are going to get blisters and other problems. You got to break them in. So, Gage, for someone like yourself, even though you're an experienced amputee, when you're getting a new socket that's fitting that much more closely, I would say take the time to let your body get used to it. So yeah, so you can prevent any skin issues. You got to let your skin get used to it. Notice I didn't say toughen up because we don't want calluses. You got to let your skin get used to it. And also it gives you a chance to see, okay, are there any hot spots? Do I have any red spots forming on my limb that I need to tell the prosthetist about? Okay. And Gage, I advocate obviously for skincare through all of my patients across the board, but most definitely for my patients who use very little socks or no socks. Some folks have a direct to skin fit socket. So you're, like a Jello mold, you're getting poured into that socket and it's your skin right on that socket. So you really need to take care of your skin. So Gage, you might have to up your game a little bit, right? Think about using a form of liquid to powder lotion to prevent any friction from happening, okay? But if that socket is well made, and it sounds like it's on the right path to being well made, it should not cause any problems with your skin if you allow yourself time to get used to wearing it. Capiche? All right, let's see what else we got here. We got some new comments coming in. Lisa, that's a great question. She says, question on a waterproof prosthesis for below the knee. Any recommendations on where to get one on a budget since insurance won't cover a second one? So Lisa, the nice thing is with a below the knee, you don't have to worry about the knee component of the prosthesis, right? Because that's usually where folks run into problems when it comes to waterproof, not waterproof, water resistance. For the most part, a lot of feet out there, a lot of prosthetic feet can get wet. There's a lot of them. In fact, the majority of them, they can go into the water unless you have a microprocessor component. or you have something a little bit fancier setup going on. Okay. Lisa, what a lot of my patients will do, especially here in Florida, we love our water. We love the beach. We love the pool. A lot of my patients will use an old socket and fit it with an old foot. And that's their beach leg. That's kind of their knock around leg, provided that the socket is still got a decent fit to it, right? So they use that leg, and then when they're done, they take it off and put on their regular walking leg all nice and dry, okay? So Lisa, this is something that you can definitely talk to your prosthetist about, keeping some of those old feet that you might have and using them. Another one I recommend, Lisa, you might want to look into the, oh heavens, and I forgot the name of it. Somebody help me out here. College Park has a water foot, and it's actually very economical, like very economical. And it has even like a drain on the bottom part of the foot, right? And it looks a lot like this. It's a drain, so you can actually drain the water that collects into it. This is not it. This is just a old wooden thatch foot. But just off the top of my head, Lisa, and I know that College Park would not be the only one, but that's a good place for you to start there, to hopefully get yourself a water leg. And guys, we'll be talking about that on May 19th as well, just like some of the hacks that I give my patients for getting to the beach and getting to the pool. There you go. So Jess says, I recently discussed this with my prosthetist, who said they could potentially retrofit an old prosthesis due to insurance coverage issues. I wonder if that could be an option for the situation. And honestly, guys, in the majority of the people I know, that's the option that they go for, provided that their prosthesis isn't, that the old socket isn't, fitting poorly. But even then, your prosthetist can maybe, I call it bubble gum and duct tape, and make it fit just well so you can take it to the beach. Okay. New socket cost, Rhonda? Are you mean like in general, Rhonda, like what a new socket will cost, or not sure what you're referring to? All right, guys, I think I have. No, I did it. I got all the questions. All right, guys, sounds like I got all the questions for today. Guys, before I go, and I got to put this in there for me. Next week, I will be announcing one of my two really big announcements, two of the big projects that I've been working a lot on. And the first people who are going to hear about this top secret project are my email subscribers. So if you have not already signed up for my email, I promise you, I don't bombard your email with like spam, and it's a once a week newsletter that I send out. Go ahead and go to my website there at cositalks.com. You can sign up for the email subscription, and you're going to be finding out next week. You'll be the first to find out what it is that I've been up to. All right, guys. With that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. If I missed your question this evening, please email it to me either through my website, or you can message me through Facebook, and I will be certain to answer your question. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you, as always, for letting me be a part of your lives this evening. Please, if you have the ability, share this out with your support groups, share this onto your pages. I am a word of mouth organization, so your help is greatly appreciated with this process. All right, guys, I will see you guys same bat time, same bat channel next week. And happy Mother's Day out there to all of my mothers. Happy Mother's Day, ladies.